we were asked, hey, if there's any way you can help with this, this is what you want to do. So the site here at the Dade Collier Airport in the heart of South Florida was a unique opportunity, because while it was an existing footprint with a massive runway, it was something that was not necessarily full or being used all the time. And so we were able to, under Kevin Guthrie's leadership, within record time, create a facility that could support intaking, processing, and eventually deporting these illegal aliens. And that's important to deport from Florida, but obviously from the United States as well. So we have capacity now for a couple thousand. We can expand that as demand is there. And we're looking forward to being able to do that. I know that the administration has called on other states to follow suit and expand this type of capacity, and I would just reiterate that call. I think it's important. I think it'll make a difference. And so we're here today to say, this was never intended to be something where people are just held and we just kind of twiddle our thumbs. The whole purpose is to make this be a place that can facilitate increased frequency and numbers of deportations of illegal aliens. And that is the goal. And one of the reasons why this was a sensible spot is because you have this runway that's right here. You don't have to drive them an hour to an airport. You go a couple thousand feet and they can be on a plane and out of here. So I'm pleased to report that those flights out of Alligator Alcatraz by DHS have begun. The cadence is increasing. We've already had a number of flights in the last few days. We've had hundreds of illegals have been removed from here, and the federal government has a process of how they eventually do, and they've done it different ways on some of these different flights. But the reality is this provides an ability to enhance the mission, to increase the number and frequency of deportations. And so what's been done here has really been remarkable. There's full ground-to-air communications from the airfield. There's air tracking radar capabilities on site, securing all access ports to the taxiway and runway on aircraft arrival. That happens. You got 5,000 gallons of jet fuel on site. You got runway lighting. You got everything you need to be able to do that. This airport is able to accept commercial-sized aircraft and conduct both day and nighttime operations. And so that's what it's all about, to be able to help process and remove folks that are legally in the state of Florida and in the United States of America. So we look forward to this cadence increasing. One of the things when the president came and visited that he approved was deputizing state officers, including National Guard judge advocates, to be immigration judges. And the vision is to just have them on site. You can move forward with the processing very quickly and increase the numbers, and the flow would be, there'd be a high turnover rate here because you'd be constantly doing that. We're working very closely with the Department of Justice. We have not yet had any approval for anybody to be able to come down here and do that, but we do anticipate that happening very soon. And when that happens, you're going to have an availability of a lot of folks to be able to be ripe, to be able to be removed and ultimately sent back to their home countries. Now, I've also pointed out we've been supportive of the efforts that if somebody is earmarked to come here and they would choose to simply voluntarily deport. Now, they're not just going to take your word for it. They're going to take you, chaperone you, make sure that you're on that aircraft and that you're landed in your home country. But there is resources available to do that. And I think that makes sense from a taxpayer perspective because it's cheaper to do it that way. It's also more efficient. So anybody that wants to take up on the offer can do it. We've had some people take up on the offer, and it's not just limited to Alligator Alcatraz. That's something that in any of these instances with immigration enforcement, that's a way to short circuit and ultimately get where we're trying to go anyways. So that is something that's a live possibility. And I hope more and more people avail themselves of that opportunity. I want to bring up folks here. I know Kevin Guthrie has done a lot of yeoman's work both in setting up this facility, making sure it's being run professionally, but also debunking a lot of the nonsense, that gets spewed out with some of the fake narratives that get put out. And he's done a really good job of doing that. Clearly that you have something that's professional and that's meeting very high standards. So Kevin, why don't you come ahead and let her rip.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank Governor DeSantis for his leadership and dedication in doing what's right for the state of Florida and the United States of America. Florida has been able to act decisively and deliver results due to his ongoing support for law and order. Florida is a law and order state. Florida knows how to respond to crisis. We specialize in response and recovery, acting fast, and most importantly, logistics management. That same speed, precision, and discipline has been applied here at Alligator Alcatraz. When Governor DeSantis called on us to lead this effort, we brought everything we've learned from hurricanes, severe weather, large-scale activations to the table and made this happen. The focus of this operation has always been and will always be fulfilling our mission, upholding the law and delivering results. This facility was built and operational incredibly fast and has now grown to have a capacity of 2,000 detainees. Our team continues to work to increase its capacity of the facility, which will eventually hold 4,000 detainees. As our capacity increases, we continue to identify contingency plans to ensure we are ready for hurricane season. I know that I've taken a little bit of heat in the media that the EM guy is not taking care of hurricane season. That is absolutely unequivocally false. When we have 1,000, I need to make sure we have room for 1,000. When we go to 2,000, I need to make sure we have room for 2,000. And yes, I may have visited some facilities in the state of Florida. Why? Because this facility, as I've said on the record, can withstand category winds of up to category 2. But there's a category 3 and a 4 and a 5. And I hate to talk to you so elementary, but unfortunately we have to break some things down into simple building blocks for other people. Category 3, 4, and 5 is greater than and not equal to a category 2. When we have that situation, we will have to do an evacuation. And it's incumbent upon the Florida Division of Emergency Management with our law enforcement partners to be able to take care of that. So yes, we are constantly looking at what we can do based on need when we get to a certain level where we're going to go. And I promise you that the hurricane guys have got the hurricane stuff covered. I promise you that. I'm sorry, I'll get back on track now. Again, just in case you forgot, we are #1 in the nation in emergency response and recovery. And that includes everything from evacuating detention facilities, jails, and hospitals, should that need ever arise. Our on-site and services include hot meal service 3 times a day, not gray turkey, by the way, full medical care, including 24/7 clinic and pharmacy, indoor and outdoor recreational space, laundry, legal, and clergy services, air-conditioned detention housing units. Again, I've said in the past, and I'll say again, either meet or exceed the higher standard, whatever that is, whether it's Florida standard or national standard, we meet or exceed the higher standard. The security infrastructure includes over 28,000 feet of barbed wire and fencing, nearly 300 security cameras, a trained force of over 400 security personnel, including an additional 200 National Guard. Additionally, this facility is surrounded by miles and miles and miles, I believe it's 39 square miles, of natural buffer, turning what was once just a taxiway that saw up to, this is another stat for you, up to over 100 flights a day as we have issues with the environment. All of a sudden, Governor is tearing up the environment. There were over 100 flights a day coming in and out of this facility. There's much less than 100 flights a day coming in and out of this facility now. With the airstrip infrastructure already in place, this location has made it even easier for us to coordinate deportation flights directly on site. None of this would be possible without the commitment of Governor DeSantis. His proactive stance long before this project broke ground, coming up now 3 years, Florida will not be passive bystander when it comes to border security and public safety. This is what leadership looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Leadership is an action verb. It's an adjective, but it's rooted in an action verb. In closing, as we make our way through hurricane season, this facility serves as an example of state capabilities and coordination. Under Governor DeSantis' leadership, Florida continues to lead the way, not just in emergency response, but in operational excellence and readiness on every front. Governor, as always, thank you for the opportunity to lead under your direction.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank everyone for coming. My name is Gary Ripp. I'm the Field Office Director for ICRO here. And again, I want to thank the Governor and I want to thank the great executives behind me. We face a monumental task, and we have faced a monumental task of righting the wrongs of the last administration. And how we're doing that is through a whole of government approach. Everything you see out here is a whole of government approach. It's all state, local, federal partners working in unison, working as one to resolve the problem of illegal immigration in this country. We've done that through this facility, and we'll continue to do that utilizing this facility. Again, it's the governor's vision, and it's our determination to make that happen. We've already started to facilitate that this week. We've had 2 or 3 removal flights, and we'll continue to have those removal flights. Up to 100 individuals who are illegally present in the state of Florida have already been removed from the United States. And again, we will continue to do that and utilize this facilities to the fullest potential. Again, I thank everyone for their time, and I thank Governor DeSantis for his vision and his leadership. Thank you.
Thanks. Blaze.
Good morning, everyone. Blaze Ngolia, Chief Financial Officer of the great state of Florida. First, I want to acknowledge and thank President Trump for everything that he is doing to make sure that he is stopping the stem of illegal immigration coming over. And I want to thank our great Governor Ron DeSantis for everything that he is doing. He has basically led on this issue since day one. And we would not be here today. This facility would not be here today if it was not for the governor leading on the issue, because the Governor DeSantis knew the enormity of this problem that was created by the Biden administration. And we knew that somehow we were going to have to get all of these criminal, illegal aliens out of the United States so they don't commit any further crimes. And the ones that are in here, illegal immigrants, we're going to have to do something with them. I know people have been saying, well, is this the right thing to do? What about the cost? We have always been talking about the cost of illegal immigration, and the taxpayers are going to bear the cost of it. So I don't want to hear anyone from the left start talking about cost, because this wouldn't be here if we wouldn't have de facto open borders over the last 4 years under the previous administration, 4 years under Joe Biden. We are doing what is necessary. We are doing what is right to make sure that we stem and stop illegal immigration. This facility and what we are doing at the state and the national level should be a deterrent to make sure that illegals do not continue crossing over the border. I am not going to sit here and I'm not going to apologize for removing criminal illegal aliens from the United States, those who are harming our communities, effectuating drug trafficking, human trafficking, and ravaging our communities. I make no apologies for saying illegal immigration is a scourge on this country. It needs to stop. It needs to stop now. And if there's any illegal immigrant listening to my voice right now, self-deport. Use the app. We will get you home. Do not come here because you will be removed. If you want to come here legally. Come here the right way. Be part of our communities. We are not going to stand for illegal immigration anymore.
Larry?
My primary remarks today are going to be directed to the illegal aliens who are in Florida, who have not yet been arrested, but who will be arrested. But before I do so, and not just to say nice words to be polite, it's important to understand the significance of this whole thing. President Trump declared and wanted and ordered the largest mass deportation mission in history. That is what we're doing here. And what's very special and very unique about this point in time is you have the genius and mastery of a Kevin Guthrie and his team, and it is a team, it's not just him, at the Division of Emergency Management, who is the best in the world at doing things fast, with a sense of urgency, in an environment of high pressure and high stakes. And it's an honor to work with you and to work with your team. And what he brings to this, in addition to his skill set, is doing things doing things with a sense of urgency. And that is a trait that I will say, Governor, with all due respect, is one that I know you value, and I value as well. Then we have combined with that, who I believe the person who has been chosen by the Department of Homeland Security to be the one that I joke with him and I say was sent to Florida to run all the federal immigration enforcement operations in Florida. I joke with him, they sent him to the best state, the state that's the most effective. The state could, quite frankly, do most things on its own. But that's not why. Why they sent Garrett Ripa here is because he is developing the blueprint or the prototype here in Florida, which the president was just in town here at this very location just a couple of weeks ago, declaring Florida the cutting edge, the best, the template, the example for other states to follow. So Garrett Ripa each day, 24/7, on the Guthrie timeline, is working to bring this all together to make it happen, not so we can do high fives and declare victory in Florida, but to be a national leader under Governor DeSantis' leadership, along with President Trump, making this the template, the blueprint that can be scaled and replicated to be generative for the entire country. So now returning very quickly as I look to the illegal aliens who live in Florida, and I want to say this humanely and with respect, not in terms of finger pointing that this is going to happen and that's going to happen. You are still here. Implicit in that is the notion that you are aware of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's CBP home platform. It's an option for you to self-deport, to have your flight home paid for, to receive $1,000 when you arrive back in your home country, and very importantly, for you to be eligible to return to this country in the ordinary course the right way, the lawful way. But it's critical to know, and not said enough in my opinion, is that if you put that off thinking you can take the risk and it might turn out well for you, you should think again. Because if you are arrested and you come to a place like Alligator Alcatraz, you are not eligible for CBP home. You're not eligible for that. Now you may think that based on everything that you've seen or heard, that the tempo that you have seen the last 5 or 6 months is the way it is always going to be. I'm here today with some new information. That is not the case. There's two very, very significant things that you need to know about that. Here in Florida, we've been leading all the national numbers with regard to immigration arrests for months. And that is largely to the credit of the Florida Highway Patrol, who's had 1,800 Florida troopers out with their universal jurisdiction throughout Florida, not just on the highways, leading the country making arrests. Just within the last couple of days, the federal government has issued credentials to over 1,200 Florida sheriff deputies and over 650 FDLE agents and other state and local law enforcement agencies, to where we have more than doubled our capability and capacity to effect arrests. That tied together with us getting good, practicing, getting muscle memory and making things happen, I strongly suggest to you is it is a new day each day as we go forward now. Don't look back on where we've been. There will be a surge of arrests, and what you see here at Alligator Alcatraz and what's to follow on detention capacity will be here to meet that surge. The other thing, the last thing I want to say about this is that if you're thinking is that, well, it's not so bad if I get arrested, because you know, and you have seen, and we have all lived and seen the last 4 years of catch and release. I'll go, I'll get arrested, and an immigration judge will bond me out, and I'll be right back in the community with my lawyer for 4 or 5 years of due process of whatever we can throw on the wall, thinking there may be some amnesty or something might happen. Well, that's other news. There's been a development within the last 2 weeks that has significantly cut back bond release from detention. It is my strong recommendation to you that if you do not take up Secretary Noem on the CBP home option to return home, that you will very likely be in a place just like this, if not this place, and you will be here for the entire duration of the time that you are exhausting your due process rights. You will not be living freely in our communities while you're awaiting the due process to take place for years or months. So I strongly recommend to you, you consider those things, you inform yourself, make the move on CBP home before you are arrested. Thank you.